Hello and welcome to another video on accounting. In this video we are going to discuss the petty cash system. We will discuss what a petty cash system is, how to establish and operate one. So let's discuss what a petty cash is. As you know, every business receives money and make payments. When they make payments, the best practice is to make payments from the bank using check and electronic transfer. However, there are occasions when businesses need to make payments for small items. Now, to make payments for those small items, businesses do not write check. Rather, they keep a small amount of cash in the office. That amount of cash is known as the petty cash. So, petty cash is used for small payments that happen on daily basis in the business. The petty cash system involves three steps. One is establishing the fund, making payments from the fund, and finally replenishing the fund back to the original amount. So in this video, we will talk about all these three steps. Let's start with establishing the fund. Now, the first step in establishing the fund is to designate an individual that will operate the fund. So we will call that person the petty cashier or the petty cash custodian. Once we know the person, we will give them the appropriate tools to operate the petty cash. So that will involve petty cash vouchers in a box or a locker to keep the cash and the petty cash vouchers. The third step in establishing the petty cash fund is now to fund the petty cash. So the accountant will need to write a check in the name of the petty cashier to fund the check, to fund the petty cash. Now, the accountant will need to decide two things here. What is the amount of the petty cash fund? And how long will the fund keep making payments until it is replenished? So these decisions are based on the size of the business and on the activities of the business. Once the accountant writes the check, he has to record it using a journal entry to debit the petty cash account with $100 and credit cash. So this means the amount of the petty cash here is $100. Generally, the petty cash will be run for 2 weeks until it is replenished. Now that the petty cashier has the check, he needs to cash this check from the bank, bring that money and put it in the locker. Now the petty cash fund is established. So to establish the petty cash fund, number one, designate the person. Two, give that person appropriate tools such as vouchers and locker. Three, write a check in the name of that person, and that person will then cash that check and bring the money, put it in the locker. So we are now set for the second step, which is making payments from the petty cash. To make payments from the petty cash, there are two situations or two ways to make payments from the fund. Number one is that employee asks for cash first and receipt is provided later. Here's an example. So Jerry wants $30 for his weekly supplies. Now, the cashier will have to give him the $30, but first the cashier needs to make sure that the amount that he needs is approved. So he needs to check some sort of authorization from Jerry's supervisor that yes, this $30 need to be spent for weekly supplies. Um, so once the petty cashier is confirms that, he prepares a voucher. So voucher is basically who the payment is going to be, what the reason is for the payment, the amount of the payment, date of the payment as well. Both the preparer and the receiver of the fund or money, in this case Jerry, will need to sign that petty cash voucher. Once the voucher is prepared, the cashier will hand Jerry the money, $30. Now, before Jerry leaves, the cashier will ask Jerry to bring the receipt. This is done for two purposes. Number one is the petty cashier wants some document as as a backup for the petty cash voucher, because he needs to show his boss that the money was spent, so he has to keep that here. The second reason is to confirm whether $30 was really spent. So the only way to confirm that is through the receipt. So Jerry will have to bring the receipt. Once that happens, both the voucher and the receipt will be kept in the locker. The second way of making payment is the employee brings receipt of spending and asks for cash. This means the employee spends his or her own money and comes for a refund. Here's the situation. So in this situation, this employee has a receipt for the money that he spent on postage, and he wants a refund from the petty cashier. Again, the petty cashier needs to know whether this money was spent for business purposes and was approved. So he needs to see some sort of authorization from the holder of the receipt. So maybe the supervisor has signed that receipt, and that confirms for the petty cashier that the money will need to be given. Once he confirms that, he needs to prepare a voucher again and gives the cash to the holder. Now, both the petty cash voucher and the receipt will be kept in the box. Now, these are the two ways the payments will be made. So these payments are made every day until it is time to replenish the petty cash. So the last step is replenishing the petty cash. Replenishing the petty cash means reimbursing the petty cashier the amount of money he spent from the petty cash fund. So the accountant will now need to get all the receipts, the petty cash vouchers, add them, and total the amount of money left in the box. So both the total of the vouchers and the amount of money in the box must equal the original amount, which is $100. So say the receipts come to say $90, so there should still be $10 in the locker. So 90 plus that $10 in the locker will mean that the fund is for $100, will equal the original amount. So once this happens, the accountant will need to record those vouchers by debiting the appropriate expenses account and crediting the cash, and that is when he will write another check for the amount of money the cashier spent. Remember, the check will not be for $100, it will be for the amount of money the cashier has spent, which is the total of the vouchers. So once this check is given to the petty cashier, the process will begin again. Now he is going to go to the bank, cash this check again, and start making the payments from it. Now, on occasion, there might be some small differences. As I told you, the total of the petty cash vouchers and the cash left in the locker must equal the original amount of the petty cash. However, sometimes there is small differences. Those small differences are recorded in the cash short and over account. Here's an example. So instead of so when the accountant counted the vouchers, so they came to be $91, but when he counted the cash left in the locker, it wasn't $9, it was $7. So there was a difference of $2. Now that's a small difference. The accountant will now record that in the cash short and over account. So this is how the petty cash system works. Hopefully the video was helpful. Remember to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification icon to be aware of the future videos. And I will see you in the next video.